Alright, so how's everybody out there in internet land? How are those crops feeling? How's your face feeling? Are we ready? Are we ready to kick off the Higurashi answer arcs? Need to know how everybody out there is feeling in internet land. Are we ready? There's no turning back. Your face hurts, but let's do it! Alright. Away we go! Meakashi. Meakashi, beloved cutthroat. This is the eye-opening chapter. Welcome to the world of Higurashi when they cry Kai. We've finally reached the halfway point. From the viewpoint of the protagonist, try to find the truth behind the tragedy that unfolds. The difficulty is very high. It won't be easy to comprehend the motive of the perpetrator. Or will it? Hey, at least it's not the worst. Here we go. We've waited so long. This arc includes choices that were added to the console version. These choices result in dialogue changes that will lead to bad ends. Do you want to see? Yeah, we'll prompt and highlight the correct answers like we did with Himatsubushi. Alright. She dropped her beads in the sand, so the girl cried. For the 100 years, the girl searched the sands. They might be in the ocean, not the sand, so the girl cried. For 100 years, the girl searched the ocean. They might be in the mountains, not the ocean, so the girl cried. How many years will pass before the girl wonders if she really dropped them? What could it mean? What could it mean? 7 keys were attached to the keychain. Without knowing which key was the correct one, I had to go by instinct to try every key one by one. On average, I'd reach the correct key within 3.5 attempts. I'd be fortunate if I could open the lock within the first 3 keys, and I'd be unfortunate if I didn't. I had to think of the worst case scenario, getting the right key only on the very last attempt. I fought with my nervousness. My head ached from it. I put the key in and turned it. I just needed to repeat that small procedure several more times, but I couldn't stop shaking. Damn! Even a 3-year-old kid can do something this easy. So, am I more childish than a 3-year-old? Whatever. I don't care if I'm clumsy. I just need to try all these keys. Even in the worst case scenario, the lock will open on the 7th try. How's them crops? Reality isn't always the same as math. What happened was worse than my worst case scenario. None of the keys worked at all. I could feel the blood draining from my brain. Did I get the wrong set of keys? No, I definitely see a faint marking that says this set is for this door. Am I just reading it wrong? Should I go back to the key cabinet to look for the right one? That would mean a great loss of time. Just by being here, I'm already risking so much. Something that could ruin everything might happen at any moment. If I can't open this lock, do I have to go back to the administration office? If there were no other choice, it'd be a waste of time to spend another second here. The administration office wouldn't necessarily be empty at this time. Somebody might come in. I won't be able to look for the right key if that happens. I stood up quickly, as if electrified. I was almost in a panic, and so felt the urge to move. My instinct pushed me. I had to go back there as quickly as possible. It's dangerous to be here, and it's also dangerous if somebody comes into the administration office. I cooled my head, making it as chilly as possible to repress my fear. Calm down, Shion. Mion wouldn't panic in this situation. Maybe I'm just mistaken. Why don't I try the keys one more time? The next moment I felt a faint vibration in the air. Somebody was walking somewhere in the hallway. If it were a normal situation, I would have known I wouldn't run into them, since the footsteps were very far away. But at the time, I couldn't think calmly. Ah, shit. Why am I panicking this much just because of footsteps? Calm down. Calm down. I should be feeling excited instead. Calm down. Calm down. I just need to do what I have to do. I should ignore the footsteps because they're not an immediate threat. Pretend they aren't there. I have to listen for something much more important right now. Oh, shit. This key should be hard and cold, but It's pliable and hot. It feels like rubber. How could I stick this into the keyhole? Shit. Yeah, goddamn, Shion. Wow. Calm down. It wasn't the key that was pliable. It's my fingers that were limp. Ah, shit. The key sprung out of my hand and fell to the floor. It shouldn't have made any sound because it was so pliable, yet it made a tremendous metal noise as if somebody pushed over a cupboard. Cling! The sound almost stopped my heart. I felt dizzy for a while. I looked around afterwards to carefully see if I caused any disturbance to the surroundings. Calm down. Nothing's changed. I don't hear anything, so am I safe? Smoked sausage, Hillshire Farms. That's probably a good sound. Wait, I don't hear anything? What about those footsteps in the distance? Calm down. Are they looking for me after they notice the sound? Oh, shit. What is that sound I'm hearing? Is it my sweat dripping to the floor? Shut up. How could I hear the sound of my sweat? Calm down. Calm the fuck down! Gonna need you to calm the fuck down, Shion. I have to clarify. This isn't a prison or a detention center. It's a private school. Not a normal one, though. It costs a fortune just to get in. It's a boarding school that provides education from elementary school to university. Being for girls only rather than a school, you could say it's a factory that manufactures ladies. Some of my classmates here have never even used public transportation. Really, it isn't normal. To me, saying how nice to see you instead of just hi is already insane. And calling the teachers sisters gives me the creeps. I hate the morning and evening prayers, to say nothing of the Sunday Mass. I don't want to memorize the Bible passages and the Holy Ghost gives me a rash. If I stayed in this institution, this is what I call the place, for many years, I'd either go crazy or be brainwashed. Most of the girls chose to be brainwashed, but I can't do that. After all, I was more impressed by the political schemes and international trade behind religious propagation than for the love of God, which the Bible teaches. Because of that, I'd been treated as a problematic child from the beginning. I experienced lots of disadvantages as a result. I realized that quickly, so I superficially pretended to be normal. However, I got tired of acting, so I started to reveal my true self from time to time. I became a problematic child once again. People started to treat me differently once again. It's fun to misbehave! But it wouldn't do anything for me in the long run. So why did I act that way? Why, even though I knew it was going to backfire on me later on? After examining my emotions, I realized that I'd completely had it with my surroundings. I was afraid of being brainwashed in this institution. I can't live here. I won't let them brainwash me. 6 months ago, I decided to escape this place. The moment I made up my mind, I started to feel alive again. I acted ladylike in order to deceive the sisters. Pretending became fun once I set my goal. It gave me the creeps when they told me with smiles that it was God's influence that I started to behave religiously. I laughed at them behind their backs. I took on my classmates' duties in order to understand the layout of the school and the schedules of the staff and guards. I soon found out that the security of the school was immensely tight because there were so many daughters of important people living here. The guards walked their beat randomly. There were surveillance cameras everywhere. The system that kept out intruders, ironically, also worked to prevent escapees. But that excited me instead. I simulated how to avoid all the surveillance in my head many times. I drew an escape route in the corner of my notes during class and tested if it worked. I strove to acquire any necessary skills to escape. It was all fun. After all, the situation was cathartic for me. That's who I am. No matter how hard they tried to brainwash me, I'd never change. I'd been waiting for the moment of my escape, preparing physically and mentally. First, I needed the courage to escape. I had to be confident in the plan. I had to think deeply about it. I also needed skills and physical strength. I imagined all the possible obstacles and trained myself. It was funny because because I was finally able to enjoy gym classes, even the long-distance runs. I needed a perfect plan, as well as the physical strength and skills necessary to execute it. Also supported by those things, I needed determination. You always need determination. That's what Game of the Decade taught us, after all. I made sure that I had all I needed and executed the plan. I decided to plant a seed in the school before the appointed day. The seed was a rumor that one of the male teachers was having a relationship with a student. I won't go into the details now, but that can turn into an enormous problem in this school. The school is limited to girls precisely because their parents want to avoid those kinds of problems. Those parents are mostly important people from various positions. If the romance was a fact and was leaked to the public, the principal would have to commit suicide in shame. In fact, even that might not be enough. In the world of girls, rumors spread fast, especially when they're separated from boys and are obsessed with dirty thoughts. So, this kind of rumor goes around really quickly. The sisters try to get rid of that kind of rumor, and they warn the students not to be swayed by it. But apparently, they're the ones who are the most swayed by those rumors. That means that I managed to make them furtively deal with something shady without contacting families or the authorities. So if I disappeared in these circumstances, it would look like I ran away with some teacher. All the male teachers would deny it, of course. However, the school wouldn't believe what they said so easily. After all, there's a dirty rumor going around. By the time the school finds out about my escape, after they eliminate all the other possibilities, I'll be somewhere safe. Telephone, telegram, tell a woman. I tried hard to spread the rumor that I was involved with the forbidden romance as widely as possible. The sisters questioned me a few times, but since the romance was something I'd made up, they couldn't find anything. No matter how hard they tried, they couldn't find any evidence. After 3 months, I was certain that I had created a solid foundation. I swapped after dinner duties with my classmates so that I could adjust my schedule on this day. I was even able to fill them with suspicion about me by doing that. Now they'll definitely suspect I ran away with some male teacher. Tonight was the night. I began my chores after dinner. After lights out, somebody will fill out about my disappearance. My generous roommate would probably wait about 10 minutes before she reported me to a sister, but no longer than that. I had about an hour tops, but that's enough for me. I took a step off of my regular route. That was the first step toward my great escape. I calmed down and thought, the key shouldn't be wrong. This lock is old and firm. Isn't it possible that I put the right one in, but the lock was just stiff and I only thought I got the wrong one? I realized that my nervousness was making me clumsy. The gloves that I'm wearing to avoid leaving fingerprints must be getting in the way too. I should try the keys one more time. I picked the most probable one and gently inserted it into the keyhole. It's stiff. If I twist it too strongly, it might break the key. The moment that I thought of giving up, I felt something in my fingertips. The key worked. I slowly opened the door. I could hear the crickets. I don't have to hesitate now, but somehow I'm reluctant to step outside. I could still make excuses up to this point. It might look awkward, but I still can. But if I take a step outside now, there can be no excuse. If the guards find me, they'll take me to the office immediately. There had been escape attempts before. That's not really so strange. I don't think I'm the only heathen here. It's understandable that there have been people before who couldn't fit into this place. So the school is well aware of the possibility of escapees. I've heard rumors about what happened to those who were caught while attempting to escape. I don't want to believe any of those stories, though. You see, all the school's horror stories involve students who attempted to escape. Whatever, bring it on. I'm not escaping to get a second chance anyway. There'll always be one chance. Things get serious beyond this door. Just like the music is telling us, things are gonna get serious. I psyched myself up and pushed the door open. A strong smell was hanging in the air. This is a fucking jam. Is that normal for the outside? I've never smelled this strong grassy smell before. Is there something going on? Do I have to be wary of it? Should I go back and wait for another chance? That's silly. There's nothing strange going on. The smell is something I smell every day. I just wasn't aware of it. It's true, isn't it? Even though I pretend to be cool, I'm nothing but a nervous wreck. Yo, sick. Calm down. That's a pretty sick CG there. Very nice. Sounds like we're gonna fight Shinobi. Calm down, Shion. I can rely on the map inside my head from this point onward. I'd researched the locations of all the surveillance cameras. I'm confident that I'll be able to avoid all of them, but I'm not sure about the guards. They pick their patrol routes randomly after all. I have to take a chance. I can hide myself in most places, but there's an area where there's nowhere to hide for several meters. I concentrated to keep my senses keen. Well, I have to depend on my luck in the end. Even if I do my best, the guard might find me by chance. On the contrary, I might be able to get away no matter how unwisely I choose to move if I'm lucky. Damn, after all that effort, it just boils down to luck? This is a gamble after all. When I realized that, I got excited. Yes, this is a gamble. I'm just trying my luck. This is a game to test the determination to change my life. If somebody failed to escape from this school, that meant that it didn't have enough luck. That meant that they didn't have enough luck to survive in the real world. But I'm different. I'm gonna get out of here. I'm testing my luck. Here goes, Shion. This makes 4 skirts for Shion. I ignored the noisy bugs and concentrated only on suspicious sounds. I heard no threats. The loudest sound was the bugs. It was my own heartbeat. Wasn't the bugs, it was my own heartbeat. Crunch. Even my own footsteps were so loud that they could break my eardrums. With each and every step, my overactive imagination tormented me with premonitions of unexpected run-ins with guards. Countless times that torture grew too hard to bear, and I thought of running. But if I broke into a run, the noise I made would only draw suspicion. If anyone heard running at a time and a place where people shouldn't be, they would realize something abnormal was happening. Yo, June, welcome. What's going on? Shion is escaping school. We just got started. Hope you're doing well, June. As you can tell, we've got a really sick Shion CG here. It's pretty rad. But if the footsteps were heard, but if the footsteps they heard were just walking, then they'd likely think nothing of it. Of course, I didn't plan on even letting them hear those footsteps. I tried to extend my senses to get as much information as possible. I didn't sense anyone's presence. I might have felt safer if I heard a guard in the distance. I'm worried that my senses might not be keen enough to detect everything. Somebody might be right behind me without me being aware of it. I didn't want to make any noise, so I stopped from time to time. Shinobi on. It's like I'm constantly fidgeting. To stop or to run. Something within me urged me to choose from either one. I can't choose to stop. I have to keep going, and quickly and stealthily. I'm already risking so much by just being here. Running, of course, would be absurd. I know that. The urge to run continues to bug me. My head was filled with these thoughts, and I went through this dangerous territory. I succeeded in passing through without running into anybody. I couldn't help but sit for a moment and exhale the rotten air from my lungs. My negative thoughts vanished quickly. Just a little more to go. Just a little more. Just through that bush over there, the fence separates this place and the outside world. Once again, I strongly felt the urge to run. I suppressed the desire and carefully tackled the final step. The beautiful-looking fence didn't seem designed to prevent escapes. While I was worried that somebody might see me climbing up the fence, it fortunately didn't happen. It's even possible that this fence might have a touch sensor. It's too late now. It doesn't mean anything now, since I'm already climbing up. From the top, the fence seemed about 7 feet high. I have to go down carefully, just like when I climbed up. I knew that logically, but I couldn't think that way anymore. I chose to jump off with no hesitation. Of course, I regretted my decision during the fall. I got scared because the flight was longer than I expected. Kerdunk. I didn't land beautifully. I fell on my butt. But there was nobody around to laugh, and I didn't have time to be embarrassed. Like that arcade game. Oh. I looked around to see if anybody heard my landing. Even the crickets weren't interested in the sound I made. I felt relieved. It's the sudden stop, exactly. I looked at my watch. 5 minutes till 8 p.m. It was just a 15-minute escape. Putting a number to it really made it obvious how short it had been. Looking back, most of the time I was just asking myself questions and hesitating. I guess I was worried too much, but I couldn't be too relaxed just yet. There's no guarantee that I fooled the cameras. This place isn't a bank. There won't be a fire alarm going off even if the guards did see me. It's possible they're rushing this way right now. I can't enjoy this air of freedom just yet. I hid myself in the darkness and waited. There's still time left until the rendezvous. I watched the school premises while waiting, but it looked like nothing strange was going on. The building was lit up and the beautiful Western-style architecture made it hard to believe that it was a school. It should be armed with electrifying wires, searchlights, and guard dogs like the prison it is. I thought I'd experience a surge of school memories in a situation like this, but it didn't happen. This sort of thing only happens when you have good memories. I have no good memories of this school, so there's nothing to remember. But if I could pick a series of images to recall, it'd be the luxurious dinners we had every night. So my memories would be nothing but international cuisine, Japanese, Chinese, French, and so on. What the hell? That's just too funny. I burst into laughter. It was like, Poncho, just imagine the food that you were having. That's the only good memory to have. At that point, I heard a car approaching. I crouched in the darkness. The plate number is the same as I was expecting. It's the car. I jumped out and rushed to the passenger side and opened the door and got in. Our boy Kasai!
Shion-san.
The driver was a man of early old age. He'd be angry if he heard me say that, though. He thinks he's still middle-aged. He looked at my face and learned that I had succeeded. I think we all relate. Who doesn't want a burger? I want a burger. Get yourself a burger. Big old burger. You had burger today? So did I.
学園では上品なお料理ばかりが出てると聞いてましたが、シオンさんにだけは
So much burger in chat today. I'm proud of everybody. You only have budget burgers? Those are fine too. You can make those work. You could go for a burger. Get that burger.
バカ、そんなわけないでしょ。冗談に決まってるじゃない。ほら、笑ってる暇があったらとっととアクセルを吹かす。
はいはい、仰せのままに。
Kasai really did laugh out loud. After telling me to buckle up, he accelerated. The cathedral-like school disappeared from the mirror in an instant. It disappeared so quick that I didn't have time for a surge of dinner memories. Goodbye, my lovely school days! Haha, I'm gonna fill my stomach with junk food from now on. I'll forever be free from the table manners you taught me. Aha! Serves you right. As we drove, the scenery began to change. Soon we were surrounded by a vast field of crops and a few street lights. It reminded me that it was just the countryside of Japan, not Europe.
お腹は空いてないですか？どこか飯の食えるところへ寄りましょうか。
食事してるからいい。
Yeah, you can make those budget burgers work absolutely fine. I lied. I'm actually a bit hungry. I didn't eat much of a dinner to avoid slowing myself down with a full stomach. I appreciated Kasai's offer, but I didn't feel like taking the time to eat while we were still in enemy territory.
この時間ですから、高速に上がってしまうとサービスエリアへ寄っても。
I'm only wearing denim mini skirts from now on.
まあ、最近はハンバーガーとかの自販機もありますけどね。そうそう、聞いた話では最近じゃおでんの自販機もあるって話です。
はあ？何それ？コーヒーの自動販売機みたいに 器がポロッと出てきて、押したボタンの具がボトボトっと落ちてくるわけ？気持ち悪い。
そういうのじゃないらしいですよ。
Those do exist, yes, I know they do.
おでんの缶詰になってるそうで、それがゴロンと出てくるらしいんです。
あ、ごめん。缶詰はパス。
缶詰、もう子供じゃないでしょうに。
嫌なもんは嫌なの。うっさいな。おー、何笑ってんの？
Kasai chuckled. He must have been trying to help me relax. He isn't usually so
私
talkative.
疲れちゃったよ。少し寝させてもらいます。これ、リクライニングどうやって倒すの？
そっちの左側の根元を探ってみてください。レバーみたいなのがありませんか？
あったあった。よっこらしょっと。
Kasai
何
laughed
か面
again.
白いこと私した？
いえいえ、よっこらしょなんていう若くない言葉遣いがどことなくミオンさんに似ておられたもので。
Well, obviously, Mion and I are identical twins. We're perfect copies of each other. When I react to something, so will Mion. When Mion reacts to something, in certain situations, I'll react the same way.
お姉は元気？
多分元気かと。私も親族会議の席に親父さんをお連れするときに少しすれ違う程度ですし。
そっか。お姉はもう実家じゃないんだったね。南沢のばあさんのとこだっけ？
シオンさんが学園に入られるのと一緒の時期に園崎本家に移られました。
I responded with a disinterest even though I was the one to ask about her in the first place. The main house is where Oryo, the current leader of the Sonozaki family, lives. That's my grandma, who I call a hag. But when we use the phrase the main house, that usually means more than just a dwelling. What Kasai refers to is the same
少しは
thing.
変わった？
ミオンさんがですか？
そう。あのばあさんと朝から晩まで顔を合わせてりゃ少しは変わるでしょ。
Kasai chuckled yet again. He knows I hate my grandma.
私が見る限り変わったようには感じません。シオンさんの知っているミオンさんのままですよ。
私はどう？私は変わった？
いいえ、全然。
Kasai responded quickly with a smirk. I haven't seen him for a while, though. It's not fun if he answers this quickly. I glared at him, and then he burst out laughing.
全然変わっておられませんよ。あれだけのお嬢様学校に入られたのに全く変わらないというのは驚くに値します。
Yeah, he's got a cool sprite too, but you just don't see it in the car. He's got a cool look. I like Kasai.
チェー。好きなだけ笑ってろ。私は寝るよ。寝る。
後ろの席に毛布がありますよ。使ってください。
Who are we right now? We're Shion.
ありがとう。
I grabbed the blanket and rolled up in it. I'm exhausted, but I can't go to sleep. It's strange. Or maybe not. I must be tired from the escape. It's just that I'm still feeling tense. So I have to declare it once again, if only to calm myself.
寝る。私は寝るよ。
Yeah, this is the Shion arc.
はいはい、さっきからもう3回目です。それとも私が許可しないと寝れないんですか？
今日のあんたは喋りすぎ。あんたが少し黙っててくんないと眠気も引っ込んじゃう。
失礼しました、姫君。
Oh, he calls her princess!
ではしばらく黙らせてもらいます。
Isn't Shion such a sweet princess, everybody? I mean, that's an appropriate name for her, I think. This interaction with Kasai reminded me of the old peaceful days in Okinomiya. Well, I don't really know if I can call those days peaceful. We were in the middle of the dam protests back then, after all. We all united together, and now that I think about it, we pulled a lot of pretty dangerous stunts. If the authorities ever found out what I did, I'd never escape going to juvie. Well, at least half of the people in Hinamizawa would be off to prison. We didn't think of them as criminal acts, though. It was war. It might have also been a festival. A festival where every person in Hinamizawa joined together in protest. It was a struggle, but it was also fun. It was fun to throw stones at the SWAT team with everybody. We hid ourselves in somebody's home when they chased after us. We'd even go crowd around the police station, demanding the release of our arrested comrades. When we snuck into the construction site and sabotaged it, it felt more like we were playing at war than conducting one. I got so excited back then. I felt united with my fellow members, even though they were strangers to me, and that memory warms my heart. Yes, the way it felt back then was like helping everyone to carry a sacred palanquin through the village, getting all sweaty and exhausted together, until we collapsed face first on the ground and shared our excitement and cheers with unfamiliar faces over tea. I was just a kid back then. I remember accompanying young men who worked for my dad out to the village to do various bad things. I was arrested a few times. It didn't feel any different, though, when I was called to the teacher's office for forgetting my homework. The other villagers were furious about the dam project, but those of us who were kids at the time, it was a pretty fun memory. All that came to a sudden end a few years ago. It was only the power of protest that ended the dam construction project. It wasn't only the power of protest that ended the dam construction project. The Sonozaki family and my dad's organization had worked secretly in the shadows. This is top secret information in the Sonozaki family, but it is said that he may or may not have kidnapped the Minister of Construction's grandson in order to blackmail him. The grandson was found a few days after the abduction. He was found in the mountains of Yagauchi. He didn't simply disappear, and he wasn't demoned away. That means some kind of deal was made secretly. A year after that, the dam construction plan was halted indefinitely. The police suspected the villagers' involvement and investigated, but they couldn't find any leads. The villagers never betrayed each other. They'd do anything to protect their fellow man. They fabricated fake alibis and fake evidence. It was easy to deceive the police. Go! Hey, the car suddenly shook, snapping me out. We almost run over a bump or something. I suddenly realized my expression was a very happy one for some reason. Oh, I must be looking forward to going home.
起きてますか?
何?
お帰りですが、沖宮でよろしいですよね?
他にどこに帰んのよ?
I answered straightforwardly with a frown. Kasai then also chose to reply
シオン
straightforwardly.
さんを全寮制の学園に入学させる決定は園崎本家当主が下したものです。シオンさんはその学園を抜け出した。どういうことかお分かりですね。
Oh, our girl's in some trouble. My, oh my.
ばあさんの決めた学校が私に合わなかったってだけでしょ？
シオンさん。
合ってるって。うっさいな。
As the head of the Sonozaki family, the Hag's decisions are absolute. They're nothing like, say, the 3-second rule. Worse, the decision to confine me to an academy far away from the Sonozaki family was made before I was even born. Shion was the name they gave me. My sister Mion had a character that means demon in her name. That was to signify that she is the successor of demons. In other words, she would be the successor to the Sonozaki family and its demonic bloodline. My name, Shion, has the character that means temple in it. This means that I was destined to take the veil and be confined in a temple. Thinking of that reminds me of how much I hate this name of mine. For starters, the person shown as Shion is an abominable being to the Sonozaki family, because it meant the family has 2 heirs. I don't have to cite the countless historical examples to explain. It's easy to imagine how that could prove troublesome for succession. According to our long-held family tradition, one of the twins was to be strangled to death right after birth. Unbelievable, isn't it? What that means is that I have to be grateful just to be alive and breathing to this day. I heard the hag actually put her hands around my neck right after I was born. I don't know what exchange took place in that moment. Maybe some brave relative of mine managed to get her to stop, or maybe she was in an extremely good mood that day. And don't try and strangle me! People usually don't strangle people when they're in good moods. People usually don't strangle infants that are just born fresh out of the pussy. You don't usually strangle them when you're in a good mood. We're twins. There are no apparent differences between us, but the first one out of my mom's stomach was named Mion, and the second one drew the short straw and got named Shion. Everyone else was desperate to tell us apart, but we sisters just found that awfully ridiculous. There wasn't any difference between us. No one could tell us apart, even if we only swapped hats. We wondered why all the grown-ups were trying to see the differences. Well, our fun as twins didn't last forever. One day, there created an undeniable, clear distinction between Mion and Shion. Yeah, only one of these has Mion Sonozaki juice. So one day, they created an undeniable, clear distinction between Mion and Shion. Mion went into the main Sonozaki house to live with the hag and learn how to become the successor, and I was to be confined at St. Lucia's. I have no objections to Sis's inheritance. I used to be jealous, but now I feel that having to learn about and follow the traditions would just make me tired. I even feel sorry for Mion. So, I'm not going to be a threat to the family, even if I'm back in Okinomiya. Also, hey Taylor, I hope things are going well. I know things were kind of crummy earlier. I hope that hanging here in some good company can do you some good. Have a good time or something. Hope we can help you forget some of the crappiness in the world for a little bit. But the hag doesn't seem to think that way. She thinks of me as some kind of evil omen. That's why she wanted to keep me away from her. That doesn't matter to me. I don't want to see her face either. I don't care if she doesn't allow me to enter Hinamizawa. She can charge me 10,000 yen per step I take there. But I want her to let me live in Okinomiya where I grew up. When I was little, I was in Hinamizawa, but I don't remember it much. So I'm not very attached to it. Confetti. I do have good memories of my elementary school days in Okinomiya. The town isn't very sophisticated, but I kind of like it there.
沖宮の町へ帰れば親族の誰かの目に触れることになります。やがては必ず本家の知るところになります。
ばあさんの耳に入ったらどうなるかってこと？まあそりゃやばいことにはなるかもね。
お分かりならいいんですがね。
なーに、笠井。あんた今から私に引き返してあそこへ戻れって言ってるわけ？
まさか。そんなことは言いませんよ。私が言いたいのは、
相応の覚悟はあるんだろうなってことでしょ。
口先だけでなく、本当に理解してるんならいいんですがね。
まあ、そうだろうね。万が一の時は脱走の手伝いをした葛西も責任は免れないだろうしね。葛西も小指に未練があるなら今のうちに小指にいっぱいキスをしておいた方がいいんじゃない？
Dang, Kasai's gonna get in trouble.
その時はシオンさんもすまきにされて鬼ヶ淵沼に放り込まれるくらいの覚悟をしてくださいよ。ああ、あるいは本家離れの秘密部屋送りかも。
I heard there was a big torture room in the main Sonozaki house. Guys, do we know anything about a murder basement in the Sonozaki house? Does anybody have any information about a possible murder basement in the Sonozaki house? I heard there's a big torture room in the main Sonozaki house. I've never seen it though. I heard they used to torture and kill enemies of the village in there. That's just awful, really. I hope I don't end up as a victim in that place.
はいはい。ま、なんとかなるって。
つくづくシオンさんは姉さんに似ている。その出たとこ勝負的なところが特にです。
そりゃ似るでしょう。実際の母親だもん。
My dad and mom will be furious when they find out about my escape. I'm more afraid of them than the hag. I don't want to go into details, but my dad is part of the Yakuza. He's in charge of the organization which covers the Shishibone area. He's in a very important position. So is Kasai here. He is an old friend of Dad who really trusts him. I don't know if this is true, but I heard Kasai used to be very aggressive, though he's gentle now. I also heard he has tons of scars. He was in charge of a few large areas, but after he was injured badly in a fight, he retired. Now he's my dad's consultant, aka a drinking buddy. He was my caretaker in my childhood, and now I feel like he's my butler. At first, I thought my dad asked him to supervise me, so I hated him. But in time, I started to feel like he was on my side. This was just a hunch, but I think Kasai used to be in love with my mom. My dad, mom, and Kasai were in a love triangle, though my dad took the lead in the end. Kasai couldn't leave my mom entirely, so he stayed around as my dad's friend. Like this dude! Kasai is very cool. Yo, Raven, welcome. Shion just escaped from school that she was supposed to be in. And now she's going to Okinomiya, and that's probably going to piss a lot of people off. Let's see, do we got sprites for him? Yeah, see, I really like the manga gamer picture of Kasai here. I really like the manga gamer version. And then, well, this one is kind of, well, might have needed a little more work, I think. I can tell that from the way he acts. He's seeing my mom in me. That's why he says I look like my mom every now and then. It kind of gave me the creeps at first, but he isn't a bad guy at all. He's actually pretty funny. I only found that out after I got used to him. So when I thought about escaping, I naturally turned to him. I contacted him in an early stage of my plan and arranged to meet him today. That fucking tie, right? You could call him a conspirator. It's not surprising he's worried about my return to Okinomiya. Considering the rules and traditions, cutting off his pinky finger isn't too far from reality. I might be rolled up into a futon mat and thrown into the swamp for real, too! Yeah, right? The Sonosaki family seems pretty rad, all in all. Even so, there's only one place for me to return. I'm going to Okinomiya and nowhere else. That's my hometown. This might be kind of homesickness, but I don't care what it looks like.
実際どうするつもりです。園崎一族の目はそこいら中にありますよ。
まあ、最初はのんびり隠れながら過ごします。仮に姿を見られたって、ミオンだって言い張ればいいんだしね。
That's a pretty damn good, that's a pretty damn good trick.
それから
で、ほとぼりが冷めてきたら、私に近しい親類から徐々に打ち明けていく。私に味方になってくれる人たちだってそこそこにいるからね。私も親父と大喧嘩した時、あちこちでいろんな人にかくまってもらったし。
なるほど。味方と既成事実を十分に作り上げてから最終的には園崎本家にもおめこぼしをもらおうというつもりですね。うまくいきますかどうか。
行くって。そもそも私を学園送りにする決定だって結構みんな反対してくれてたもんね。あれは私をやたらと嫌ったばあさんの猜疑心からの決定みたいなもんだったし。葛西もそう思うでしょ？
ええ、まあ私もあの決定にはさすがにやりすぎとは思いました。
ばあさんはあれこれ余計なこと考えすぎて正常な思考なんかできなくなってんの。あのダム戦争で神経張り詰めっぱなしだったからまだその時の興奮が抜けきってないんじゃないかな。ったく。
Cause I smiled. I couldn't go to sleep after all, even though I was rolled up in a blanket. Even though I told Kasai to shut up, I kept talking to him. In time, I got tired of talking. As I could feel the car run smoothly on the highway, Kasai spoke to me again.
シオンさん、ほら。
I was so tired that I ignored him. I wondered what he wanted me to look at, but I wasn't that interested. Yet I opened my eyes slightly and saw a sign quickly pass by. Kasai probably wanted me to see that sign. It was an illustration of azaleas around letters that said, "Welcome to Shishibone City. My hometown is coming right up." Oh, neat. Wait, what? It's not done this before. Hello. Doom Shotgun. What is going on? We're doing opening credits for these games now? They've never done this before. Interesting. How's it going, Doom Shotgun? Welcome. We are now in the question arcs of Higurashi. Satoshi Hojo! His name is right there! Thank you for the 1 bit. Oh, that's classy as fuck. Look at that. A little title drop there. That's classy. I like that. That was cute. Yeah, we need that smooth Oishi jazz. And we got a tip already. Kai. This is the Notebook's beginning. Let's get them tips. Get them tips. The Notebook's beginning. June 1982. Satoshi Hojo disappeared several days after the Watanagashi festival. There were 3 possible reasons for his disappearance. One possibility is that it was an accident. Dead bodies sometimes end up in irrigation channels a few months after hit-and-run incidents. But since the police did a thorough search of the area and hadn't found his body, that possibility seems small. The second possibility is a self-motivated disappearance. Satoshi-kun had been living in dire circumstances. His close friends actually heard him imply he might run away. The police thought he skipped town after killing his aunt. That seemed plausible, considering that aspect, but the police arrested another person for the murders, so his hypothesis must also be considered false. The last possibility is that he was involved in a series of mysterious deaths in Hinamizawa. It is also called the Curse of Oyashiro-sama. He fell victim to it and disappeared. Unless Oyashiro-sama's occult power is actually verified, the curse must be an act of humans. It was only natural to assume that Satoshi-kun was made to disappear by someone's will. So the question is, whose? The possibilities are quite limited. The culprit is either a member of the Sonozaki family, a member of the 3 families, or one of their many relatives. The police can assume that easily. I need to think beyond that. Who did it? How did it happen? And why did it have to be done? Why did Satoshi-kun fall victim? What was the motive? Who gave out that order? Who actually did it? The mastermind, the culprit, and the truth. The loot, the warrant, and the crook. It's just like Carmen Sandiego. All are within my grasp. Maybe I'll find them right behind my back, but even so, I can't reach everywhere. There are parts of my back I have to make an effort to reach, clenching my teeth and cracking my joints so that the tips of my fingers can barely touch them. The truth is hidden in places like those. The truth is hidden in your butt. The truth is all up in your butthole. That's it. I'm writing this because I need to organize my thoughts and memories. Nobody will read it other than myself. But if somebody does, that means that either I threw these notes away because I no longer needed them, or I fell victim to the curse of Oyashiro-sama in the middle of my attempt to solve the mystery. If it's the former, that's okay. But if it's the latter, please, I want you to help me. Please help this powerless young girl. Big think. Big think. There's nowhere deeper than Oishi's ass crack. Alright, like I said, we're going to do another chapter, so we're going to take like 5-minute break. We'll be right back, and we're going to do another chapter. So, be right back, folks. Alright, we're back. Alright. Who's ready? Who's ready to continue? Ready to get this train a-moving again. Alright. Let's get nice and comfy. Relax. For good things to happen. A lot of young girls who got power up the wazoo. Let's find out if that's the case. AD 1982. Interesting. The 5th year of a series of mysterious deaths in Hinamizawa, also known as Oyashiro-sama's curse. 1 year prior to Keiichi Mayabara's transfer. Well, now. This is certainly interesting and spicy. I didn't hear a wake-up chime. I'm not in school anymore. My brain is half asleep, and I'm aware of that. Waking up at the same time as the chime would go off at school doesn't feel good. Yeah, it's a new ceiling. Oh, after 5. With the spice. For some reason, my brain immediately saw that as a dick. So, that's why I had to stop there and laugh for a second. Because for some reason my brain saw that pepper and said, man, that's a dick. Okay, I can't go back to sleep after this. Still, I'm not going to live in a torturous school life anymore. I can make today either happy or boring. It's up to me. Everybody stop putting dicks in my chat. Yay! That's really positive. I feel like I'm alive for the first time in a while. I didn't have any other clothes, so I was still wearing the school track uniform. It's supposed to have been designed by some famous Italian person, but it just looks plain to me. It really doesn't feel great to still be enclosed from that school. I want to enjoy my freedom as soon as possible. I especially don't want to walk around outside wearing it. I should have Kasai bring me some new clothes later, and I should think of redecorating this room. After all, this is going to be my new castle from now on. This is a room in a gorgeous apartment building in the suburbs of Okinomiya. The property is a realtor in my dad's conglomerate obtained after a foreclosure due to some sort of dispute. Most of the residents moved out after that. So while there are plenty of rooms, it's a lovely complex that feels devoid of people. Plus, with the exception of the manager and a scant 1 or 2 others, all the residents are shady-looking people connected to my dad. It probably won't be much longer before the virtuous residents are driven out. The apartment I'm living in used to be the room they'd use for viewings, so it looked like a room in a business hotel. It's fully furnished, but lacking in daily necessities. I'll buy those over time.
むしろその方がいいよね。自分の部屋っていう実感が湧くし。
I nodded to myself. It might have looked stupid, but it helped psych me up. At the school, there was a TV only in the common room, and we weren't allowed to watch any cable channels. I zapped through all those channels as a form of emancipation. It was early in the morning, so nothing interesting was on, but I enjoyed it anyway. Commercials are fun to watch. Consume. Kasai dropped by with lunch right when I started to feel hungry.
シオンさん、おはようございます。ゆうべはよく眠れましたか？
ソファーに毛布でゴロ寝は結構辛いです。やっぱ日本人はちゃんと布団敷いて床に寝ないとね。たくあんが美味しい。
それはよかった。後で必要なものを教えてください。可能な限り揃えるようにします。
ありがとう。あ、でもそんなに気を使わないでいいです。私の好きで始めた生活だし。葛西だってたかられたらお財布持たないでしょ
？Consume and obey. Oh yeah, I knew about that, like the sumo wrestling thing. Yeah, I'd heard about that. I have to be serious about my plan. I can't let myself take advantage of Kasai's wallet
バイト
forever.
でもしようと思います。生活費くらいは自分で稼がないとね。
I'm gonna get a job at Sunfish Pocket.
私が選んだ生活なんだから自分で何とかするのは当然。
それはたくましい限りです。でもいいんですか？外を歩けばやがては親族の誰かに見つかりますよ。
そこは少しは考えてある。そこでミオンの力がいるわけよ。葛西さ、本家に電話してもらっていい？
Oh, dang.
ミオンが出たら受話器変わって。
やれやれ、何を企んで
Are
る
we,
や
are
ら。
we getting the Mion play early?
どういう作戦ですか？
And again, this is 1982, not 1983. We are a year before Keiichi has arrived in Hinamizawa. Kasai dialed the number. It's funny to me that we're calling the main house, even though that's the place I most want to avoid at the moment.
もしもし。
おはようございます。ミオンさんですか？ご無沙汰しています。葛西です。ええ。おはようございます。少しお待ちいただけますか？今受話器を代わります。
I take the
もし
handset.
もし。
Uh-oh.
私が誰だかわかります？
その声は。でもそんなはずは。シオンの寮は使用電話禁止だったはず。そんなはずはない。
学園では外部との電話は禁止だからね。それが電話してきたってことは血の巡りの悪いお姉でも意味がわかるでしょ？
あんた学園抜け出したの？どうやって？
そんなことはどうでもいい。会いたかったですよ、お姉。
That was as far as I could take it, and Mion had hit her limit too. Oh, they love each other, guys. It's fine. They love each other. It's fine. We both burst into laughter, unable to keep up our act. It had been a while since we laughed out loud with each other like this.
久しぶりだよ、シオン。あんた本当にどうしたの？
どうしたもこうしたも。別に私は嘘吐いてないです。
じゃああんた本当に脱走したの？やる。
私を閉じ込めておくにはちょっと警備が甘かったかもね。
学園はシオンが穏便に脱走したことに感謝するべきかもね。本気のシオンだったら全施設を爆破してから脱走するくらい朝飯前かも。
爆破はできないけど放火くらいはやるかもね。
Kasai smiled at us in amazement, his face a blend of amusement and exasperation.
おね、今は電話大丈夫なの？
大丈夫。バッチャはお稽古に行っちゃってる。今日は帰りは夕方になるって言ってた。
それは好都合。近いうちに会って話をしましょうね。とりあえず今日のところは電話で。
Exactly. What's a little arson among sisters?
本家に学園から私が脱走したっていう連絡は来てます？
んにゃ、来てない。本家の電話も来客も全部私が通すから、私を素通りしてバッチャに連絡行くことはない。だから来てないって断言できると思う。
ほう、そりゃすごい。さすが園崎本家次期当主。
私はそんなの嫌だよ。シオンが変わってよ。
鬼がついてるのはお姉でしょ。まあせいぜい頑張ってください。陰ながら応援いたしております。まあそんなことはどうでもいいや。
すごい人事っぽい言い方だな。まあいいや。
私関連で何か動きがあったら葛西に連絡をよろです。ここの番号はお姉には教えてもいいかなと思うけど、しばらくは内緒にしときますね。
That's probably a smart move.
ごめん。
そうだね。学園脱走したって話がバッチャの耳に入ったらいろいろ面倒になると思うよ。連絡の件は了解。何か動きがあったら葛西さんに伝えとく。
ありがとうです。それとあとお姉にお願いがあるんだけど。
そう来ると思った。あ、お金は無理だよ。
さすがにお金を無心できるとは思ってません。お姉にはちょっと私のバイトのお手伝いをお願いしたいんです。
なるほどね。そういうことか。で、具体的にはどうするの？
We can communicate fast in a situation like this. We don't have to get into details because we know what's on each other's
吉郎おじ
minds.
さん、私の味方だったじゃないですか。吉郎おじさんの持ってるお店のどれかでバイトできないか打診してみます。で、シフトが決まったらお姉に連絡しますから。
あんたがバイトしてる時間帯には消えてりゃいいわけだね。めんどくさい役だな。
何ですかお姉、双子の妹の頼みを断る？本当に？
いいよいいよ、引き受けるよ。あんたの頼みは断ると後が嫌だ。
サンキューです。今度シュランクベルタのケーキでもおごるから。かわいいタルト山ほど食べさせてあげますから。
あ、シオン、シュランクベルタね。去年の秋に店閉じちゃったんだよ。
え？あ、そうなんだ。
うん。マスターが脳梗塞で倒れてね。退院してから一度は店を開けたんだけど、やっぱり体が持たないらしくてさ。惜しまれたけど閉店しちゃったわけ。
Feels bad, man.
そっか。そりゃあ残念です。欲張りモンブランをお腹いっぱい食べる夢はもう夢のままで終わっちゃったんですね。
I was disappointed that my favorite cake shop had closed down, but more so that this town had changed without my knowing while I was gone. It was kind of regrettable.
他にも変わったこと、私の知らないことある？
うん、いくつかある。今度会ったら全部話すね。
ありがとう。私も学園で見てきたこと全部話しますね。近いうちに機会を設けましょう。追ってこっちから連絡します。
うん、わかった。
ミオン、
何？
元気でやってる？
もちろん。
ならよかった。切るよ。
うん、じゃあね。
It'd really been a while since I last talked to her. I put down the phone and heaved a sigh as Kasai brought in some
結
tea.
局どういう話になったんですか？
吉郎おじさん、私のことを可愛がっててくれたじゃない？おじさんにね、私が学園を抜け出してきたのを打ち明けようと思います。で、おじさんの持ってるお店のどれかでささやかに働かせてもらえたらなって。
人目に触れますよ。吉郎さんはいいとしても、
そのためのお姉ってわけよ。私が働く時間が決まったらお姉に連絡する。で、お姉は私が働いている時間にはちょっと人目を忍んでくれればいいわけ。わかる？
Kasai looked puzzled. It's not really that difficult
つ
to
まり
grasp.
簡単。バイト中に私が何か咎められるようなことになったら、私がミオンだと言い張ればいいだけの話なんです。お分かり？
Normal people wouldn't buy this kind of plan, but Kasai knows too well how easy it is for my sis and me to trade
つく
places.
づく大胆というか悪知恵が働くというか、いやいや脱帽。
もちろん褒め言葉だよね、葛西。
Kasai looked amazed. If things go south, it'll affect him too. Considering the rules of my dad's profession, he won't be able to get away with just a mere apology. That's why he doesn't want me to do anything too risky. I think I have to make it up to him, since he's helped me escape even knowing the risk.
ああ、任せとけよ。シオンちゃんのことをどうのこうの言うやつがいたら俺が少し締めとくから。
やっぱ吉郎おじさんは頼りになります。おじさんならきっと助けてくれると思ってました。
Uncle Yoshiro pounded his chest with his fist after offering me his assurance. He seemed glad that I had turned to
いい
him
ん
first.
だよ。俺はシオンちゃんの自分の生活費は自分で稼ぎたいっていう気概に感心してるんだ。
Swerve, are you getting angry in my chat? Don't be getting angry in my chat. Ain't no play, don't bring no anger here.
金をたかりに来たんだったら本家に突き出してるところだぜ。
There we go. Yeah, we use poly-okeo in this chat.
ああ、おじさん怖い。
How you doing, Swerve? Hope you're doing well this evening. I knew he was reliable. He understood my situation straight away and promised to
店
help.
長、シフト表持ってきました。ここに置きますね。
One of the store clerks brought out a work schedule. There were many things I'm unfamiliar with written on it.
で、シオンちゃんはどのくらい働けるんだい？
私とお姉の都合次第かな。
There you go, Swerve. Now you're getting it. Now you're getting it. Now you're cooking with gas.
できたら私の指定する日だけ入れるのが一番いいんですが。
おいおい、そんな虫のいいこと言うやつ面接じゃ会ったことないぜ。まあな、仕方ないもんな。
I'm depending on Mion for my work. Our schedules have to match. Of course, Onki Yoshiro understands that, but I also knew he couldn't afford a selfish part-timer who only works when she wants to. In the end, he decided to hire me as an office helper, not an official worker. As a temp, I wouldn't have to work. I wouldn't have a work schedule. My uncle also decided to pay me out of his own pocket.
でさえ生活費が稼げればそれで OK です。
じゃあ、そういうことで頼むぜ。一応金を払うんだから仕事中はしっかり頼むぜ。あと事務所内じゃおじさんは勘弁な。
はいはい、分かってますよ、店長さん。ふつつか者ですけどよろしくお願いしま
That
す。
doesn't seem shady. He seems like he's doing the right thing. He's doing something good.
こちらこそどうぞよろしく。
Once all the business talk was over, my uncle handed me with all kinds of questions. He asked me things like, what was it like in the prestigious girls' boarding school, and so on. Apparently there were all kinds of rumors going around about St. Lucia Academy that I was confined to, and everyone was curious about it. I added a few embellishments of my own as I explained how unordinary life at school was. My uncle looked extremely delighted to hear that all the little details of the life of a secret garden for girls. Horny bastard. Once my uncle was satisfied, it was my turn to ask all kinds of questions. I wanted to know if anything peculiar had happened while I was gone. I won't be able to act like Mion unless I can fill the gap of information left in the past 2 years.
そんなに大きく変わったことはないな。ダム戦争が終わってからこっちはもうそりゃのんびりしたもんさ。
私はダムの計画中止が発表されて少ししてから学園に行ったからな。私がこっちにいた時はまだほんの少しピリピリしたムードが残ってましたよ。
中止発表の後の1年くらいは同盟も計画は凍結されただけで中止になったわけじゃないって言って神経質になってたんだけどな。翌年には解散式をやったよ。南沢の境内で大式典だった。それでダム戦争は本当に終わりだな。
じゃあ私が閉じ込められたすぐ後だ。戦争も終わっちゃってみんなふぬけちゃった感じ？
しおんちゃんなんかはダム戦争は戦争ごっこみたいで楽しかったんじゃないか？
I had a lot of damn questions about the damn project.
子供たちが警察のお世話になるたびに引き取りに行っていろいろいじめられた大人の身にもなってくれよ。
まあ確かに否定はできないかな。私ら子供にとってはダム戦争はかなり遊べるイベントでしたし。
Uncle Yoshiro seemed exasperated at how differently kids and adults treated the
そういえば
conflict.
バラバラ殺人なんてのがありましたよね。
There was a... Hi, Uncle. Do you want to talk about... murder?
あのクソムカつく現場監督の野郎がバラバラにされたやつ。
Shion has got a mouth on her. Wowie.
あれ確か犯人がまだ全員捕まってなかったですよね。捕まったんですか？
ああ、確か初犯がまだ捕まってねえんだよな。そうそう、確か捕まってないはず。
しかもひなみ沢の守り神お社様を祀る綿流しの番にね。当時お社様のたたりだって騒がれたのを覚えてます。あれ子供的には結構怖かったな。
ああ、お社様のたたりね。その翌年にも起きたんだよな。
そうそう、あれも怖かったですね。何でしたっけ、ダムの賛成派の男が事故で死んだやつ。 北条だっけ？しかもまたしてもお社様を祀る綿流しの日に。これはもうたたりしかありえないってずいぶん騒いだっけ。
She is enjoying this story.
あれは怖かったです。
The construction manager that everyone hated was killed and dismembered on the night of the Watanagashi festival. That incident on its own was more than intense enough for us kids. Worse, part of his body was never found, which made it almost a ghost story amongst us. We seriously believe that the severed right arm was roaming in search of the body it belonged to. Yeah, absolutely. It didn't take long for the rumor of Oyashiro-sama's curse to become a topic of discussion among occult researchers and the like, considering the circumstantial factors. Even so, the rumor faded away after about a year. After the dam project was officially frozen, we held the Watanagashi purely as a festival. But the curse struck again. The victim was a pro-dam activist who lived in Hinamizawa by the name of Hojo. He and his wife were on a trip when they fell from a cliff to their deaths. It was considered an accident. Technically, police were still searching for the wife's body. If I remember right, they never did find it, did they? Once again, the man most worthy of Oyashiro-sama's curse fell victim on the night of the Watanagashi festival, so the fuss over Oyashiro-sama's curse rose up again. Until then, Oyashiro-sama was considered very important, at least in the world of us kids. It was just the name of the object of worship in the shrine, nothing more than that. I'd seen boys peeing in the archway, and I once stuck my hand into the offertory box. Well, I hope I didn't pee in the offertory box. Then you got pee hand. Nobody wants pee hand. The existence of a god didn't matter much to us, but after 2 consecutive occurrences, the kids no longer doubted the existence of a curse. We were all shaking in fear of Oyashiro-sama. Eventually, suddenly, everybody suddenly became interested in the old stories about him too. We quietly listened to the musty old stories the elders had to tell, and we started genuinely believing in the tales of Oyashiro-sama's miracles, which any of us would have laughed away before. Oyashiro-sama's rules were awfully simple and clear. Enemies treading into Hinamizawa will be cursed. Villagers leaving the village will be cursed. What defined the village was terribly vague. We were never allowed to leave Hinamizawa village. Was going to Okinomiya still safe? Was a single step enough to be out? Was a 3-day, 2-night hot spring trip still safe? We kids tried to draw a line. It was decided at the end that if you had a house in Hinamizawa or Okinomiya, you were safe, and it was okay to go on trips if you had a house in either area. I know it's weird, but those are the rules made up by kids after all. According to the rules, I'd be cursed since I lived at a boarding school in such a remote area. I couldn't say it out loud because I felt embarrassed, but in fact, I was a little scared of the curse.
でさ、その翌年にも起こったんだよな。
やっぱり2年連続ってのは結構きますよね。私は今でもお社様は信じてるな。
シオンちゃん、2年なんてもんじゃないよ。知らないの？
知らないですよ。何の話？
そっか。シオンちゃんはあれの直前に学園に行っちゃったんだもんな。知らないよな。
Uncle Yashiro grimaced as if he'd said too much, as though he'd mentioned something I shouldn't know about.
何おじさん。そこまで話を振っておいて急に黙られると面白くないですよ。
Not while the ominous wind sound effect is playing.
まあ、シオンちゃんももう小さい子じゃないもんな。
おじさん、私を見てまだ小さい子供っていうのなら、眼科行くか回し蹴り食らうかのどちらかを選んでもらうことになるんですけど。
Wow, Shion.
もう、わかったよ。別に隠しゃしないよ。あったんだよ、その後も。
あったって？おじさん、さっきから何の話？
Tick. When I was very little, I always heard this tick before I heard something bad. It was like a gnome who lived inside me was giving me a warning, like he was poking me with a small needle. When I felt this tick before my parents called me, they'd always either chide me or tell me something bad. So I used to run away when I felt it. but my senses seem to have grown dull over the years. Even though my gnome poked at me, I just sat there.
実は賛成派の北条が転落事故で死んだ次の年にもな。つまりは去年なんだが、また会ったんだよ。
会ったって、また綿流しの日に3年連続でまた？
そうなんだよ。ほら、ひなみ沢の神社あるよな。古出神社。あそこの神主が祭りの夜に突然ぽっくりいっちまってよ。聞いた話じゃ原因不明の奇病で急死したとかしないとか。それもまたしても綿流しの夜に。で、かみさんもその晩のうちに沼に飛び込んじまって、村長たちが集まっててんやわんやの。
Uh-oh. Is our girl hearing about things that maybe she shouldn't be hearing about?
奇病ってのはおひれだと思うけどね。急死したってのは本当。神主さんは綿流しの準備で大変だったと思うし、あの頃は少し体調を崩してたみたいだからね。急性心不全とかそういう感じのよくあるやつだったんだと私は思ってるけどね。でも綿流しの日にってのが異常でしょ。それも3年連続で。普通に考えたら人の死がこうも同じ日に重なるなんてことは考えられない。警察も検視したみたいだけど、その後に特に騒がなかったってことは死因に不審な点はなかったってことじゃないの？まあでもシオンの言う通り、人の死が3年も続いて綿流しの日に重なるとやっぱり普通じゃないって思うね。それにさっきお姉も言った通り、お社様にたたられそうな人ばかり開始する。これは絶対に何かあります。たたりでも陰謀でも、とにかく絶対裏に何か因果関係がある。
I decided to meet up with Mion at the library near Okinomiya train station. It's not that I don't trust Mion, but I don't want to let her know where I live. Not many people use this library, so I won't see anyone from Hinamizawa here. It's very convenient for meeting someone in secret. After we discussed my life plan and work schedule, we moved to small talk. I'd been away from town for years. Things had changed. I asked Mion about these changes in detail in order to fill in the gaps. While talking about various things, I brought up what Uncle Yoshiro had told me, about Oyashiro-sama's curse. Even before I left town, the curse had already struck twice. The dismemberment murder on the first year left quite an impact. And the year after, the pro-dam activist couple fell off the cliff. On the day the villagers were enjoying their first Watanagashi festival since the dam project was indefinitely frozen. This one also left quite an impact. The evil construction site manager was punished, and the next year the traitor to the village met the same fate. If it had happened only once, people would have concluded that it was just a bizarre coincidence. But when it happened 2 years in a row, people were far more likely to believe it was a curse. I know up to that part, and after I left town, the curse struck again for a third time. People talked about the curse more intensely than ever, both in Hinamizawa and Okinomiya. I had to rethink this. Oyashiro-sama's curse had drastically gained credibility while I was away. It was still unclear with the first two incidents, but after it continued for 3 years straight, people's doubts changed to convictions. Even though the priest who died on the third year wasn't an enemy of the villagers, the fact that the people in Hinamizawa didn't care for him much added even more credibility to the idea.
神主は確か嫌われてませんでし
Yo,
た？
it's our girl. She's back. It's been so long. It's been so long.
同盟の役員から。日和見主義なんじゃないかって叩かれてたね。戦争末期は同盟内でも過激な理論がまかり通ってたから。神主さんの穏健な態度はそういう人たちにとって気に食わないものだったと思うね。
Yeah, we did see small Mion though. She was adorable. The priest had looked strict and scary. The way he spoke was always so formal, but in reality, he was very warm and reserved. Maybe it was because he was a son-in-law, having married into his family. I'm sure the priest and his personality were the perfect fit for managing the shrine that was used for summer festivals and village meetings. But the gathering spot-style atmosphere of the shrine changed completely when the Dam War broke out and it became the headquarters of the Onagafuchi Guardians. Prior to the dam protests, hardly anyone worshipped Oyashiro-sama. Of course, the devout elders paid worship to him, but the average person treated our god like how you would treat fortune-telling. Once the dam protests began, Oyashiro-sama was suddenly hauled out as the symbol of the village's resistance. Tracing the Oyashiro-sama's faith to its roots, it was an exclusive elitist faith that believed its members were descended from a holy ancestor, different from the masses at the foot of the mountain, and that those tainted masses should never come near the village. Yes, it's 1 year before, so she's 1 pixel smaller now. Of course, such self-centering ideology wasn't acceptable anymore in peaceful post-war Japan, so this doctrine was abandoned over time. Still, the idea remained that they trudged it back up to fan the flames of nationalism and unite the town against the dam project. With the renewal of those ideas, things only grew more radical by the day, and it didn't take very long for the Onagafuchi Guardians to become aggressive. After that, we were in a state of war. 100 million burning as one. Kill the white savages. Want naught but victory. Adults and kids, both gnawing at the bit, avid to repel the foreign invaders. Describing it like that makes it sound kind of awful, but the remainder of the dark times of wartime Japan, just like I said before, for us kids, it felt like a war, more like a village-wide festival. Yet, despite calling it a festival, dissenters were treated coldly. Their heartlessness lived up to the expression wartime regime. The Hojo couple, who voiced their acceptance of their dam project in the midst of this atmosphere, were truly brave. Then, on the 2nd year of the curse, they died in an accident, and everyone believed it was Oyashiro-sama's curse without question, so they were branded traitors and enemies of the village. The Hojo couple faced worse than just being ostracized as traitors. Everyone gave them the cold shoulder and talked behind their backs. The only person who didn't treat them badly was the priest. While the priest never objected to the anti-dam movement, he also never objected to the Hojo couple's advocacy for accepting the government's eviction and restitution to build new lives. Those unforgivable Hojos became a slogan of the 3 families, especially the Sonozakis, united the village by turning them against the scapegoats. So they must have found it very shameful to have a fellow member of the 3 families approve of that, especially when it was a priest at the shrine that had become a symbol of the dam protests. As central figures in Hinazawa, the 3 families were the backbones of the Onagafuchi Guardians, so a difference of opinion was undesirable, and the priest was never accused of anything. But secretly, people whispered that he was a heretic, and that he was unfit to serve as Oyashiro-sama's priest. That Oyashiro-sama's curse would soon strike him down, along with other rumors.
今にして考えると、神主さんって結構大人だったのかもねって思いません?
He was pretty cool, managing to keep his head and remain neutral while everyone around him grew fervent. I thought Mion would share my opinion when I chimed back in. So when Mion gave a forced smile and didn't agree with me, I was taken by surprise.
本当に大人だったら、あそこは周りに合わせて強調すべきところだったと思うね。フルデのおじさんは単に神社の神主だっただけじゃなく、仮にも御三家の一つ、フルデ家の長だったんだからさ。南沢全体が結束しなくちゃならない時に、模範となるべき御三家の人間が自分から輪を乱すのは、それが大人と呼べるかどうかは私には難しいな。
I was taken aback. I barely managed to say the following. Even though we're identical twins, we still had our own unique identities. Every now and then our opinions differed, but usually over some trivial matter. We never had a difference of opinion this big. It was an enjoyable feeling. I decided to probe her some more.
お姉の言う協調って言葉がなんだか好きじゃないんですけど。つまりそれって何？村全体を考えて神主さんは自分の考えを隠しているべきだったって、 そういう話？要するに全体主義の中で個を主張するなと、そういう話？別にそこまでは言わないけど、ただやっぱり御三家の長の一人なんだから、もう少し言動は慎重にしてもよかったんじゃないかって、そういうことだよ。
Mian faltered a bit as my tone grew more like a cross-examination. I realized I was speaking a bit too harshly. What Mian expressed was probably the more mature opinion on our scale. When everyone needs to work together to stand up to a vast enemy like the government, people should refrain from actions that would destabilize that alliance. Running it out and reading it out now, I can understand that. But I wasn't mature enough to agree to such a totalitarian idea. Or maybe it wasn't me at all. It was Mian who'd made that mature judgment. We've been separated for over a year. I've been away from the town. In the meantime, Mian has been training to take over the headship of the Sonozaki family. She'd been treated as such even before I was confined to that institution. She sat next to the hag in ceremonies and in meetings. She took her place when the hag was absent. But that was just it. We were never that different. Mian has become very like a successor since I've been gone.
お姉もいつの間にか大人になっちゃいましたね。
Almost like an old man. She seemed to get what I was implying.
やっぱり私もバッチャみたいな考え方になっちゃってきたかな。いいじゃないですか。お姉は次期当主なんだから。
Oh yeah, in the opening narration while she was escaping the school, she made it very clear she hates Oreo. So...
いつまでも下々と同じ考え方じゃまずいでしょ。さすが帝王学を学んだだけのことはある。そんなの学んでないよ。どうやればバッチャのふりができるかってそれだけだよ。シオンにだって簡単にできるよ。そんなのやりたくないです。ばあさんのおもりはミオンのお役目。ま、疲れない程度にほどほどに頑張りなさいませ。
I didn't mean to be cold, but Mion seemed to take it that way. She smiled as if trying to pacify me. I smiled gently back at her.
おねえ。ミオン。何？確かに私たちの別離はいつも穏便じゃなかった。名前を引き離され、住まいを引き離され、そして体を引き離された時もいつもね。
Mion looked down with a serious face, but then looked right back up.
あんたは私がそのあたりで逆恨みしてるんじゃないかって思ってるかもしれない。でもそれは誤解。そりゃ確かに確執はあったよ。でもそんなのは時間で流れる程度のもの。あんたが引け目を感じるようなことは何もない。
Up until birth, we were perfectly equal. Right after birth, we were separated by the grown-ups' priorities. I used to get mad about it when I was little. There's no denying that. But we don't have to start a disagreement over it. Mion seems to understand what I'm trying to say. We each have our own characteristics, even though we're identical twins. Only we know the differences. We're also dependent on each other because of them. Mion seems more dependent. She always worries about me. If somebody gave her a cookie, she'd divide it in two and give one half to me. If somebody gave her a candy, she'd wait until I said it was okay to eat it. On the contrary, I'm cold. I don't care about others if I'm satisfied. I'd put the candy in my mouth right away. I have to emphasize that I don't hate her, and I'm well aware that she loves me. We both know that. Mion must have been hesitating to put the candy of the successor in her mouth and was waiting to see if I was okay with that.
頑張れ、ミオン。私もシオンを頑張る。
I tapped her forehead with my fist lightly. Mion put her forehead against my fist as if trying to feel the warmth. She's Mion, and I'm Shion. She's the successor of the Sonozaki family, and I'm just a vagabond. That isn't just a distinction, but rather our individuality. We shouldn't worry too much about the other anymore. We should feel relaxed, living as who we are with our own characteristics. I didn't have to say any of that out loud. Well, we can communicate by touch, just like this.
ありがとう。シオン、頑張ろう、ミオン。困ったことがあったらいつでも相談して。私たちはいつだってそうやってきた。それはこれからも何も変わらないよ。うん。
Mion kept nodding, and with her forehead against my fist. I said goodbye to Mion before it turned to evening. We had talked about things that happened during my time away, and I enjoyed having that chat between sisters very much. We were able to dissolve our unsettled emotions. We didn't used to do that. Maybe it's because we hadn't seen each other for over a year. It was late afternoon. My heart felt lighter now. I stretched and looked up at the sky. The sky was clear, blue, and far away. No matter how tall I grow, I'll never be able to touch that sky. I'm Shion Sonozaki, a girl who escaped from the life she was forced to live. Nobody will praise me for what I did or for what I'm going to do. But this is what I chose.
なんだ。私だって大人な考え方できるじゃない。
I psyched myself up. I should go shopping for dinner. Though I have Kasai's help, I need to save money. I love junk food, but it's cheaper to cook. Ironically, the culinary classes from medieval school will come in handy. Why not go to the shopping district in Kami-Ishiki? If I'm going there, then I'd need to take the other street. The cool breeze in the late afternoon feels nice on my skin. Ding dong, bing bong. Kasai came to the door while I was putting stuff I bought into the fridge.
待って待って。今鍵開けます。
お買い物の帰りですか？お疲れ様です。
買い物程度で疲れてちゃたまんないよ。あ、葛西も食べてく？独り者にはスーパーの野菜の単位は大きすぎだしね。
よろしいんですか？ご厄介になってもいいものでしたらぜひ。
She got a big teddy bear. Look at her big old teddy bear. She got a big old teddy bear. Kasai looked curious about what I'd cook.
その顔は全然信じてないな。
Super Brand First Live.
見てろ。
これらは冷蔵庫でいいんですか？入れておきますよ。
What a nice guy.
悪いね。
I like her fish carpet. Her fish welcome mat is really... She's really done some good for herself here, I gotta say. This looks pretty cozy.
$2人分だとお米はこのくらいかな。よっこらしょっと。
Kasai skillfully packed food in the fridge while glancing at each item in turn. He noticed something.
シオンさん、相変わらず缶詰はダメなんですか？
I hadn't bought any. That was, of course, on
缶
purpose.
詰を避けての買い物はいろいろ大変でしょう。
理屈じゃ分かってんだけどね。無理強いされりゃ食べないこともないけど。
Yep, the rabbit trash can as well. Like, this girl knows how to live. Like, I would hang out here. This seems like good vibe. This seems like good vibe town.
それでも私はやっぱりパスだな。
悪かったと思ってます。少しふざけすぎたと思ってますよ。だからそろそろあんなくだらない話忘れてくださってもいいのに。
ああ、もううっさいな。男が厨房にチャラチャラ出入りしない。テレビでも見てておとなしくしててよ。
Kasai chuckled and left. I know this sounds stupid, but I hate canned food. If somebody told me there was canned food in a meal I just ate, I'd throw up. It started with a silly thing. Kasai told me a horror story when I was little. You know, one of those urban legends about meat made from an unknown source. Like those rumors about how there's worm meat mixed in burger patties or dog meat in beef bowls. Kasai had fun telling me one of those old stories because of how scared I got. He had fun, but I obviously didn't. I even started to cry at the canned food section of the supermarket. That's how much I hated it. I don't freak out like that anymore, but I still don't like canned food. A whole chicken in a can. Since I don't like it, I don't force myself, and I now live life naturally avoiding canned food. One of the big differences between us twins is that Neon doesn't have this issue. Kasai feels responsible for this, but he can't rid me of that fear. Still, a flaw like this is actually a good thing. Otherwise, I'd be too perfect! She's got a point, people. Like, at least she's modest about it. She has a flaw.
Kasai, 机の上の新聞どけて。
いい匂いですね。ごちそうになります。
量が足りないと思ったら、あとは勝手に牛丼屋さんにでも行くこと。あ、テレビは切らないで。私は静かな食卓ってやつが苦手だから。
では、いただきます。
で、葛西何の用だったの？何か用事があってきたんでしょ？
I handed him a cup of tea. I could wait until dinner was over, but I wanted to get to the point quick.
食事が終わってからの方がいいかと思ってましたが、食べながらにしますか？
葛西が来た時点でずーっと何の用か気になってるから。先に言ってくれた方がご飯の通りが良くていいかもです。
自宅に学園から電話が今日ありました。
Yeah, like I've done homemade tomato sauce once. A lot of work. I'll just be lazy and use the canned stuff. It's fine.
今日そりゃ遅いね。よっぽど表沙汰にしたくなかったと見えるな。
Yo, what's up? I don't have a brain in my head anymore because you just blew it out the back of my skull, Taylor! I do grow my own tomatoes. I love tomatoes so much. People don't, like, seriously. Like, tomatoes are my jam.
で、どうなったの？
電話は茜さんが取りました。
Akane being the mom.
親父さんには後で折を見て話すそうです。
Akane-san is my mom. That's what Kasai calls her, and he's known her since before her marriage.
母さんなんか言ってた？
I was lucky she answered the phone, since she's relatively on my side.
仕方のないやつだと、こういう結果も決して予想外ではなかったような顔つきでしたね。
親父にはまだ知らせてないんだ。
茜さんなりにタイミングを計っているんでしょう。多分 2,3 日中には話すものと思います。
親父はばあさん寄りだからな。耳に入れば自動的にあいつにも伝えるだろうな。
Like, tomato growing is just something that goes back to when my dad was alive. Like, just, for some reason, every summer, just like, yo, we're just gonna grow tomatoes. Literally nothing else. Just tomatoes.
で、伝わったら見つけ次第即刻ここへ連れてこい。
But me and him are very similar in that, like, you know, man, I'm just gonna, like, grab a tomato out of the fridge and just eat that motherfucker. Maybe have a salt shaker. Just go crazy on it. That's me with a tomato.
申し開きの意見によっては、指の1本や2本ってことになるだろうね。おっかない子って。
Have her men bring it to, depending on my... Oh boy! Oh boy! We got a girl who might be losing a finger or two. Uh-oh!
笑い事で済めばいいんですがね。
Nipple cucumbers.
シオンさんの指だけじゃ済まないかもしれないってとこだけ。あちちちち。
がっつくからだよ。あ、ちなみに味噌汁もご飯も作りすぎてるから、おかわりは強制ね。3杯は絶対食べること。
A few days later, Mion told me that the hag had heard about my escape.
で、ばあさんはどんな感じだった？
There's a bit of a different pace going on here, because usually like we do chapter breaks for entire days, and now we're just covering a lot of stuff at once now. Interesting how they're kind of like changing the pace a little bit. Makes me wonder how the rest of this is gonna go.
バッチャはカンカンでさ、もしも沖宮界隈に帰ってきてるなら、祖国見つけ次第自分の前に引っ立てろってさ。
Yeah, I guess that's one way to tell your sister apart, like lop off a couple of her fingers. Gonna be hard to hide that one.
怖っ。で、実際に親父とかの動向は？
近々の親族会議でシオンをかくまってないか問いただすみたいだね。でも若いのに街中を探させるとか、そういう真似はしないみたいだよ。
Holding a family council means that things will remain in the hag's hands alone. She won't search the town for me, it's like she's unofficially approving my presence. Of course, I'll get caught immediately if they find me in a large
母
public
さんが
place.
随分暗躍してくれたみたいだね。
I can tell she's being supportive. It's a long story, but my mom is sort of an outlaw, even though she is of the Sonozaki bloodline. A long time ago, she had a huge fight with the hag because she hated the family rules and traditions. She was even excommunicated. My mom was supposed to be the successor, but she was deprived of that title, and Sis took her place instead. Well, she's quiet now. Mom's still an outlaw. She's always been on my side because I also hate rules and traditions.
最初はすっごくカンカンだったらしいよ。母さんがだいぶなだめたらしい。何のかんの言っても、親父は最後には母さんには勝てないからね。
オッケー、ありがとう。また何かあったら教えてね。本当にヤバくなったら、私もこの町を離れるつもりだから。葛西とか吉郎おじさんとか、それに母さんとか、世話になった人の顔は潰せないからね。
See, Shion's a good girl. She's thinking about other people. Where's all this? Oh no, my crops are wilting. Where's all this now? Look at how nice of a girl she is.
お姉、あんたが今何を考えてるかわかりますよ。どうして同じ血を分けた姉妹なのに、シオンだけこんな隠れるように生活しなきゃならないのか、でしょ？
Mion was silent. That meant yes.
シオンだけ、こんな窮屈な思いをするのはフェア絶対。
ありがとう。気持ちだけでも嬉しいです。おね。
You will not tolerate this farce?
表に出たい時とかあったら相談して。シオンがいつでもミオンになれるよう協力するからさ。
She sounded apologetic. I shouldn't go quiet or agree with her. She sticks to things a little too much. Once she goes down, she'll stay there for a while. So I just told her simply.
ありがとう。実はそれが一番ありがたいです。じゃあ切りますね。
じゃあね、またね。
We got a tip? That's a smudge diary. What's in the smudged diary, I wonder? Satoko was crying while hiding behind my back. She's been crying while clinging on to me, so my back was wet with her tears and snot. My aunt had been screaming hysterically, but she looked tired now. I suddenly realized that it was already past 1 a.m. She vomited out a series of screams one last time, then finally called it quits. Satoko seemed exhausted. She was looking down in a state of shock. Even after my aunt walked away, she didn't realize she had been freed. So I stroked her head and told her.
終わったよ。Satoko.
Satoko twitched. Her eyes grew bright again and tears rolled down her cheeks. She looked at my face. She knew it was over, but wanted to hear it directly from me. She begged me with a look. To be honest, I was really exhausted too, so I felt a bit annoyed when she tried to make me say it, but I needed to pacify her, so I gently told her what she wanted to hear.
もう、おばさんの小言は終わったよ。だから、ね。 寝よ
Satoko clung to me while her tears continued to fall. She was crying again silently. Satoko was shivering pitifully. Her small back reminded me that there was nobody else to protect
さ
her.
あ歯を磨いてそれから布団を敷こうそしてぐっすり休もう
Satoko smiled faintly and nodded. I felt dizzy. As I was released from the strain, a harsh drowsiness fell upon me. While Satoko was washing her face, I went to the toilet. I zoned out while watching my pee. You ever zone out while watching your pee? Just, zoned out while watching my pee. Just zone out while watching your pee. In my dizziness, I almost missed the shot. I felt like I was being sucked into the toilet. I couldn't even remember what caused it. Why did my aunt start screaming today? Oh, I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing. Nippa. There you go. You got one. So, now your crops have flourished. All right, Jetstorm, this is your time to go live. If you're looking to start a stream, so because we're going to call it there for the night. I'll buy you a few minutes of time here while we wrap things up. So that's that right there.